What's up? This is Hoops After Dark, and the NBA Finals is officially going back to New York with the Knicks 2 wins away from an NBA championship. That sentence sounds strange, but it's real. I'm Mike Cooper. Dre is not here again for another episode because he doesn't want to respond to text messages. And I'm here with my buddy on the left, or I guess you're right, whatever you're looking at. Sam Kingery. Sam, what's going on, buddy?
Not much.
Light the beam, right?
I am near Sacramento right now. Light the beam. Boy, oh boy. The Knicks being 2 wins away from the NBA Finals is wild. I hate it as a personal, lifelong hater of New York sports teams. But I also, these Knicks are not. The Knicks are not the most annoying of New York sports teams. Honestly, let's do something really. Let's do a stupid ESPN offseason topic before we even cover Game 2. Michael, are the Knicks the least annoying New York team? Team, not fan base. Team.
Yeah, I would. No, I would say the least annoying team is probably the Nets because the expectation for them is to just suck every year.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess they are a New York team, and they are a New York team. I don't want to say they're not, but I guess yeah. Of the primary of the teams you think of when you think New York, of the Knicks, the Mets, the Yankees, and then the Rangers and the Islanders. I don't really have any beef with them. I'm just not gonna really ever root for them. But between the Yankees, the Mets.
If we're including NHL and everything, I'd probably say it's probably the Islanders. Islanders is play and that's it. Their fan base doesn't do anything.
No.
The Mets and Yankees fan bases are annoying. The Giants
garbage. The Mets and Yankees fan bases should be sent to the moon.
Then the Nets, do the Nets even have a fan base?
Matt Ishbia.
Well, okay.
He's at the games, right? Or does he not show up anymore either?
The Jets just suck, and the fans know that they suck. So
yeah, it's hard to. Yeah, that's true. But watching the Jets continually lose this bad is really funny.
Well, I'm a Patriots fan, so I enjoy it every second of it.
I am also a Patriots fan. You forget. Yeah. So anyway, just a quick topic. Certainly not as annoying as their baseball counterparts. So the Knicks as a team can endear me. I enjoy the Nova Knicks aspect. I feel really bad for Dante DiVincenzo.
Well, I just think the whole thing is just a good story. I mean,
it is.
Cat's getting his flowers for being how good he is in New York because of the stage, the media market, and obviously being in the NBA Finals. Brunson has always been looked at as a great player, but never a superstar. And now he's
Becky Hammond, too small to be a number one guy on a championship team.
Yeah. Yeah, all those talks can be put to rest if they can.
Bridges was close to an NBA Finals win with the Suns, right?
Yeah, before he got traded for Kevin Durant.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I
mean, and to think too of did OG win one with Toronto?
Yeah.
So
he was like a rookie, but yeah.
Yeah, I think he was a role player, right, off the bench.
He might have been starting. Let me check.
I can't remember if he started next to KD or was the sixth man on that team.
You mean Kawhi?
Oh, that's what I meant, Kawhi. Sorry.
Yeah, he did. He was a rotational player. He was hurt during the playoff run, because he had an emergency appendectomy. So he was off the bench in 67 games, and then he had removed his appendix and was unable to suit up for the entire postseason. So he won a championship ring though, and I'm sure he would have been a contributor in that playoff run, at minimum off the bench. He's a very good player.
100%. But I'm just thinking, so you have some OG's gonna get his flowers too of finally winning one and being a major part.
Listen, and we're not listen. This series is not technically over. I don't want to talk like that, but in terms of actually playing and performing in the finals, now OG can at least say I've played a playoff run instead of just having a ring and having being like, yeah, I didn't actually play.
But like we've been hitting on, the Knicks lead the NBA Finals now 2-0. The real story though that we're going to talk about and break down is how they got there, because Game 2 was very different than Game 1. It was not Jalen Brunson, going off for 40. It was not the Spurs going away quietly. The Spurs making the massive comeback. It was messy. It was intense. It had some weird moments. And I think that this is kind of a finals game where one turnover, one missed box out, one free throw, one bad pass just swung the entire series.
Yeah. I mean, this game was as 50-50 in the stats as you can get when you look at the team stats, when you look at some of the player stats. Both teams, interestingly, came back. So the Knicks came back from a 14-point deficit, and the Spurs came back from a 12-point deficit. So both these teams made runs. The classic, it's a game of runs talk. Both of their stars, listen, and we're obviously going to talk about the mistake at the end of the game for Wembanyama. But like both sets of stars played like well. De'Aaron Fox really stepped up in this game when some of the media attention was on him and his performance. Like it's kind of strange to see the Spurs down 2, but think about how they could have won that game, and then Game 1 was a lot closer than we think. So like I'm still of the opinion that this series is much closer than 2-0.
I mean, you can say it's very similar to what's going on in the NHL like playoffs right now too. That series could be 3-0 either way.
Yeah.
one pass, one late goal, one something is 3-0. It's 3-0 Carolina or 3-0 Vegas, and it's kind of very similar to what's going on in the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
It's one turnover, one late possession, one player stepping up who we didn't think would step up, and it's been like that both ways. Wembanyama making that, I know we're going to hit on it, but that turnover down the stretch, that's just something he never does.
No.
And
no, I don't know how to explain how that happens. It kind of goes back to what I said, something I said like many podcasts ago. When I was talking about the problem with like positionless basketball sometimes, is the problem with positionless basketball is occasionally, and I'm not accusing Victor Wembanyama of not being able to do this, or anyone that gets the ball and is a forward that plays with the basketball and brings up the court. But they're used to, when positions were very clearly defined in basketball, like 30 years ago, where even like outside of like guys like Larry Bird, if anyone outside of a point guard or shooting guard came down with a rebound, they would stand there and wait for their point guard to get the basketball.
But isn't that kind of, you can argue what they were doing? Wembanyama did try to push it up a little bit, but he was trying to get it to Stephon Castle.
Yeah, but they wouldn't make the dangerous passes.
Castle didn't come back to the ball. He was still trying to go up the floor. He was running up the floor, didn't turn his head, and the ball hit him in the back.
Especially in crunch time, there was never used to allow anyone to touch the ball outside of the star or the point guard. Like, so, and listen, Wemby's a star. I'm not like, this is nothing against Wemby. It's just, this is sometimes where inexperience and positionless basketball, I think, can still rear its head and be like, hey, sometimes, and I know there was also time running off the clock and like a bunch of things going on in the moment. Sometimes just getting your ball to the guy that has carried the ball up the court every day of his life since he was 6 years old, and a De'Aaron Fox and like your traditional point guard guys, sometimes it's better. And then I think, and moving aside from that point, because I don't think it was totally correct, because I think Wemby can be a real.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but here's my question. I don't remember, so maybe you do. Were the Spurs out of timeouts? Because if they had a timeout left, why isn't Mitch Johnson trying to call a timeout in that situation?
But were they? I mean, because they had still like 15 seconds. Even if you have one, like,
but still, if you can feel anything becoming out of whack, I would just try to call it.
Yeah, but nothing was going out of whack until he threw the ball off Stephon Cassel's back. Nothing was going wrong. Like, Mitch Johnson, I think they had like 14 seconds. I could be completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure they had like 14 seconds left. And Mitch Johnson's like, okay, we have possession, we have the final shot. And then he does that. So,
and I think too that like it just the way the sequence, like we've kind of been hitting on, is played out. Hit him in the back, ball went loose. Brunson ended up with it. Wembanyama then fouled Brunson.
yeah.
Brunson hit 1 out of 2 from the free throw line, and suddenly the Spurs went from having a chance to win. I mean, they still have a chance to win, but having a chance to grab control back in game 2, to trailing by 1 and had 1 shot, 1 possession left to save themselves. And everyone's going to remember that Wembanyama turnover, especially if the Spurs lose this series. If they win this series, they can argue that maybe that was a wake-up call and a turning point for the entire series on its head. And it's just, I think that you can kind of see too, I know that the Knicks may not have the finals experience per se other than OG, right? But you have, or maybe you can throw Bridges in there too, but you can see that that's kind of the difference of a young team trying to win the finals.
It's a veteran team
against a more veteran established team. Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns or OG or Mikal Bridges probably don't make that pass. They probably wait till Brunson gets the ball.
Yeah. And they certainly don't make any pass that goes off another player's back. It's just, I don't expect it to ever happen again. And they played so good. I just hope it wasn't deflating, because I think the worst thing that comes out of this is they feel deflated. They lost both games at home, and they just don't have the energy and the drive to make it a series on the road. Because most likely what happens, no matter what, is they go down 3-0 or 3-1.
Oh, I agree. If they're going to win a game, it has to be tonight. Because I don't think they
go
win.
Down 3-0.
If they go down 3-0, I think the series is over.
The only way for them to win this series is they have to win tonight and they have to win the next game.
Oh, I agree 100%. And I think too, the one thing that we miss on is how Wemby does talk about the outside like noise in the conversation a lot. Mm-hmm. Does Wemby let that noise of people calling him that he choked or that he was lazy or does that get to him? Because I
hope not.
I hope not too, but I'm just, speaking of all the variables that can play into it, and like you said, and you hope that they don't lay an egg, like does the outside, but here's the other thing from the other side. Do the Knicks let the chaos of what's going to happen in game 3 affect them, with Trump going to the game, with all the crowd, and with everything that's going on? Is that going to be a distraction for the Knicks? I mean, the Knicks already know the pressure is on them being New York's team, and they know how their fan base is. Is that going to be more pressure on the Knicks? Because you're going to have if the Spurs come out and the Spurs gives you their best shot tonight, are the Knicks going to be able to respond? Are they going to lay an egg? Is it good? Because this is probably going to be if the finals is already not heavily watched, this is probably going to be the most watched game of the series.
Yeah, I think so. It will be 100% the most watched game of the series. Yeah, no, there's a lot of factors tonight. Are the Knicks going to allow, like you said, are going to allow it to take them over? Are the Spurs so demoralized that they have to go into Madison Square Garden that they're just going to not fight the rest of the series? I'm a little less concerned about Wembanyama letting the outside noise get to him. He doesn't seem like he really pays attention to any of it. Also, was there really that much talk about him being a choker?
Some people called it. There were some,
but it wasn't like whenever the past 5 years when James Harden has inevitably blown in the playoffs, and every single member of the media, whether it's us with 5 people watching or Stephen A, has been like, this guy sucks. We don't like him. It wasn't like that. It was a few people. He's also 19, and he just this guy goes on what Zen retreats in the offseason. How much on Twitter and being like, Dylan said so I blew this game. What do I do, guys? Question about the Spurs, and we talked about this last pod, but like, I think we should address it again. Does Dylan Harper get into the starting lineup? Because my God,
so I mean, Fox played better though.
no, but you don't. I don't. I'm not saying you take out De'Aaron Fox though. You can
You take
take
out
out.
Cass.
No,
You take
I
out
think
Champagny.
or Vassell. Like my God, dude, this kid is incredible.
I
This
think
guy,
I think you may see it.
like,
You're gonna see something change because I mean let's talk about let's see how they played in game 2. Hold on. So Champagny didn't have the best game. He played 36 minutes.
but he's more of a forward, so I'm more interested in keeping him on the
Harper
field.
played 32 minutes in game 2.
But like, look at this kid.
No, I'm not arguing your point, but I'm
Yeah,
saying like he played more minutes than Stephon Castle did. He played 2 less minutes than De'Aaron Fox. And realistically, I think the Spurs' problem is they're not getting enough out of the rest of the bench. Mitch Johnson is basically playing 6 guys.
yeah.
The highest other player off their bench
He's playing
that's
7. It's
not
Calvin
really.
Johnson.
Calvin Johnson played 16 minutes.
Yeah, I know, but which is not enough for a 6-man of the year. Yeah, Harrison Barnes isn't giving them anything. Carter Bryant's not giving them anything.
Carter Bryant played 3 minutes. Cornette played 8. Harrison Barnes.
Cornette plays the minutes where Wemby is tired, and that is it. And fair enough. Like Luke Cornette, like is a good player. He was a better shooter. I know he hurt himself and has had to reinvent his game, and like good on Luke Cornette for doing that. But with Wemby being this good, Luke Cornette's entire role is Luke, you're going to play the 10 minutes a game that Wemby doesn't feel like playing. And that's it. So I'm fine with him being limited. The rest of the bench, to be fair, listen, they do need more out of Barnes and Carter Bryant and Calvin Johnson. But like, it's not like you're going to reach to a Kelly Olynyk or a Bismack Biyombo anytime soon.
No, I'm not saying go deeper into your bench, but I'm saying you need to.
Calvin Johnson score more than 3 points if he's 6 man of the year.
So, yeah, and he had 16 minutes, was a -5. Cornette played 8 minutes, was a -7. Castle played 28 minutes, was a -6. Champagny was a -8, but Dylan Harper was a +12. So yeah, it's like you got the Harper. You got to if Castle or Champagny's not giving you what they need, what you need, you got to play Dylan Harper. Go small and play Dylan Harper. Can we talk about though that what the Knicks are doing in this series with Brunson not even? I mean, Brunson's not even shooting that well.
I have a quick Brunson thing before we even start on this. And this is the first time I've noticed it, and it was because I was listening to the radio call for some of this game. Does his dad genuinely just coach him through the entire game?
Kind of seems like it. I think that was one of the reasons. I think that was one of the reasons why he signed with the Knicks. He signed with the Knicks over the Mavs because the Mavs didn't want Brunson on their staff, and the Knicks were willing to put Brunson's dad on their staff.
Listen, like clearly, like Brunson's a great player and it works for the team, and I'm not like shitting on what they're doing or anything at all. But like, is that not
like it came out? I know this is not game related, but it came out back during that negotiation period when they couldn't get the deal done that it was Mark Cuban said that it was Rick Brunson's fault that he soured the relationship between Jalen and the Mavs and the chance of getting a deal done. And
it's not really weird that he does that though. That his dad, who is not the head coach, is talking him through every possession. Like it seems like yelling at him most possessions.
And then then Knicks hired him in June 2022, signed Jalen that same month.
Yeah, like I knew this story, and like I knew he was on like a vocal coach. I just didn't realize until I'm listening to the radio call and Doris Burke is talking about how Rick Brunson has been talking to Jalen after every single possession. I'm like, dude, that is crazy. This guy is an all NBA player. Relax.
Yeah, no offense, if you need your daddy to talk you through a game, that's Good. I
that's the
mean,
thing.
props on you. Props on you for getting that far to the NBA.
Yeah. And which I'm not even sure you're saying that, and I'm definitely not saying that. I think he's good enough to play without his dad speaking. So, Rick,
Well, I mean, he did
shut
in
the fuck up.
Dallas.
Like, Rick,
Rick,
shut the fuck up.
Rick wasn't
Why
even
are
on
you
his.
here?
Rick wasn't even coaching in the NBA. Rick played for and now they bring up the little piece that Rick was on the Knicks when they last played in the finals, and he played a total of 9.2 seconds the whole series. But father son, same team playing for the finals.
Hey, Bronny got NBA minutes. Father son can do a lot of things in the NBA apparently. Yeah, I don't know. Before we talked about Brunson's stats, which like that's the actual story, I just was not aware. I was aware that Rick Brunson was on the roster and was a vocal coach. I was not aware that after most possessions he's talking to Jalen, and I find that to be absolutely insane. I'm sure it brings value of some sort to Jalen, but also at a certain point, I would be so if that was my dad.
I would. I mean, if at some point,
I love you.
At some point, I'd tell him to fuck off.
Yeah, I would be like, dude, please stop, for the love of God. So anyway, that was just something weird that I had.
Kind of funny. It's kind of funny too. It's kind of funny too that I think Leon Rose is Brunson's godfather or something like that, and Rick Brunson stayed on the staff through two coaching changes at this point. Because Tibbs got fired, then they hired Mike Brown, so he's been on the staff for two different coaches at this point.
Well, we were talking about Dylan Harper, and we can go to Jalen Brunson quickly though as well. Landry Shamet's having a good start to this series. Landry Shamet is playing very, very well. So good for Landry. No, 13 points, 5 of 12, 3 of 7.
3 of 7. He's been playing great.
Yeah, just really solid for them. He's been kind of their X factor because without Landry. If Landry Shamet plays how he had played most of the rest of the season and was just playing average for him,
what they're doing is what I said that the Spurs should do with Harper. Josh Hart only played 18 minutes in game 2, and Landry Shamet played 30. Yeah. So you're playing a majority of the game with a lineup of Brunson, Bridges, Shamet, OG basically as your 4-man or Bridges, whoever it is. You're playing 4 guards and Karl-Anthony Towns. And they're spacing the floor. And I think they're doing that because Shamet's hitting his shots. So that spaces the floor. And if you're playing basically a 5-out offense, you're pulling Wembanyama away from the rim. And you're letting Brunson and whoever, whether it's OG or Bridges, get to the rim. And it creates different problems for the Spurs, which honestly should have been what OKC did, and OKC didn't take advantage of that.
Yeah. So do you think the person that gets cut off is Champagny then?
It may be whoever's playing worse between him or Castle.
Well, yeah. Well, and I don't think you could take out the dynamics of Castle, and I think Champagny's main thing is his 3-point percentage. He just, I don't know. I just don't know who the correct choice to take off is. But I think you have to throw some sort of wrinkle into the plan. Talk to us about Jalen Brunson, where you were going to go about 5 minutes before I ruined it.
Oh no, you're fine. It's they won game 2 and he shot 7 out of 25 from the field. Yeah. They won game 1 and he was 8 for 30 from the field or whatever he was. He's really not shooting that well, and the Knicks are taking control of this series. And maybe it is that dynamic, like you just said, that kind of went into it of spacing the floor or they're getting the help that maybe Wembanyama is not.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, but here's the thing, all the Spurs starters played well too. That's the thing, all the Spurs starters and Dylan Harper played great last game. The first game, obviously, neither team shot well, but this last game, both teams ended up shooting pretty well. It was just both games were, in my opinion, despite the first game being a 10-point game, I think both games have been a coin flip. And this time it was a key mistake by Wembanyama. And last game, it was, it was a 10-point loss, but like we talked about, there was few things that, 2 things the Spurs do differently, and they're in that game too. So, The only issue, like if this had happened, if we had started this series at Madison Square Garden and these two games had happened, I would feel so much better about the Spurs.
Oh, I
But
agree.
but
I agree.
because both games happened at home and now they have to play two games there, I'm very worried that they're going to lose one of them. They have to
I
win
have
both.
and you could argue too that Karl-Anthony Towns has been the best player for the Knicks in this series.
He's been
He
very, very good. Very good.
he had 21 and 13, 4 assists on 8 of 12 from the field, and 3 out of 5 from 3 in game 2.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And he was efficient. He gave New York a front court answer to Wemby, and we talked about it in the series preview. It is though. You get Wemby's going to do Wemby things, but you're getting 21 and 13 from Towns, who
Oh,
historically
yeah.
we talked about it in the preview, like when Dre brought it up as well. Like he historically has not played well against Wembanyama,
No. I mean,
and he's
well,
and
here's the thing. He's played. No, his stats were fine. It's just Wimby's stats have been double. Which, to be fair, last game Wimby had 29, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and 4 blocks. So it kind of still went that way a little bit. Like his numbers are never like, it's not like he scores 10 points and gets 2 boards and just gets dominated.
I mean
Like
they also got 14 minutes, 7 points, 3 rebounds from Mitchell Robinson.
for Mitchell Robinson too. Yeah, absolutely. No,
So
they're playing better. It's not like Wemby forces Cat into like Chet numbers when he's against him. But Cat, I still agree that outside of maybe Wemby, he's been the best player in the series. Because
right, and then you can also throw in too the game that Mikal Bridges had in game 2. You know, 26, 6 and 6 on 8 of 13 shooting.
or
Like
6 or 3.
yeah, and that's what you need though, because if he's hitting his threes and Shamet's hitting their threes, you can't sag off. And there's gonna be a point where Brunson starts hitting his shots. It's just gonna be a matter of when.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Yeah, because of Brunson, yeah, and that's the terrifying thing about them playing in Madison Square Garden is if Brunson goes off and it gets to 3-0, or even if they win tonight and they lose, it's 3-1. Yeah, it's just I don't know. It's a nightmare start despite both of these games being relatively close for the Spurs. And I really thought that they had the ability to win versus this team. And maybe they still do, but it needs to change quickly.
I mean, we talked about that. We did our ESPN moment that De'Aaron Fox needs to step up and play better, and he did.
Needs to step up in game 2.
I mean, he did 20 points on 8 of 12 with 5 assists.
No, he did. And the game was right there. It's just one mistake. And maybe that's maybe at the end of the day that's the series. Maybe the series is
I mean, that whole comeback too by the Spurs was sparked by Wemby. Wemby had 22 in the second half.
Yeah.
And just to see if Wemby doesn't throw away that pass, maybe the Spurs get a timeout when they advance the ball up to the front court. Maybe Fox gets the ball. Maybe Wemby should have walked it up and just slowed it down.
And taking the possession. I wouldn't have minded that either.
And maybe they win, and that game goes their way, and it's 1-1, and this whole series feels completely different.
Yeah.
And I mean, you also got. I mean, if you just look at the Spurs role players too last night, or I'm sorry, on game 2. In game 2, Harper 15, 6 and 3, like we were talking about. Stephon Castle 14, 4 and 4. Devon Vassell gave him 14 and 9 and 5 assists.
Yeah.
I mean, that's enough support to win games.
Yeah. I think we really hit on the things that need to change in order for them. Either like they cannot come out tonight and like play back, like they have to be a winner tonight. Look, we're about to be done. We're about to be done. We cannot.
Oh, did you hear my daughter?
Yeah. we cannot come out tonight. They cannot come out tonight and be bad. Like they have to win this game. And I think either they need to continue to get this kind of X factor from the rest of their team that they did get in game 2 and finish it off right, or Keldon Johnson also needs to contribute, and then I think they win.
I think that's why like game 3 is fascinating too, because obviously we hit on how raucous their fan base is. Obviously, this is the first finals game at Madison Square Garden since 1999. The building is going to be insane. The Knicks fans have lived through have waited 2 decades for this. They've lived through bad teams, weird eras, bad contracts, chaos in
Linsanity.
their front office, Linsanity, years of being treated like a punchline of the league, basically. And now they're 2 wins away from winning a championship, and they have Game 3 and Game 4 at home. And
Who was it? Isaiah Thomas that absolutely was an awful GM for them. He was off for several teams. The NBA legend Isaiah Thomas, but bad GM, and I don't remember if it was
I
the
think it
Spurs or who else
was
he's
that
messed up.
what
Not the
Toronto.
Spurs, the Toronto, Indiana, and maybe the Knicks too. Either way, the Knicks have been through a lot, as you were saying.
He's like the Doc Rivers of GMs. Just somehow gets a job somehow.
I don't know. Like Doc Rivers at least was okay as a coach some seasons. Like I mean, this is who's a awful. This is Brian Kelly at LSU. No, even worse. This is all. He was bad. He was really bad. Anyway, the Knicks are going to be.
But I think that scene can cut 2 ways, like we've been talking about, right?
Yeah.
The energy can be overwhelming in the best way possible for the Spurs. Overwhelm the Spurs, get them completely off their game, create a raucous environment.
Yeah.
It can make every Spurs turnover feel bigger, make every Brunson bucket feel like it's, the building's going to explode. Yeah. It can turn a little 6-0, 8-0 run into the roof is going to come off.
Yeah. But that can also lead to pressure. It can lead to, and maybe, the Spurs, like the OKC was loud. And they have a very, very big home fan base. And I need the Spurs to show me something, because otherwise I still will consider them to be probably the most dangerous team in the league going forward. But it will always feel like maybe they left something on the table to be like, not only because I still think they have a chance to be a dynasty. Maybe they left something on the table to be like really, really impactful in NBA history.
And I think like you just said, and we've been kind of hitting on this whole time, is the response that the Spurs are going to play with starts with Wemby. And I think the first question that everyone's going to ask is how is Wemby going to respond emotionally to when Game 3 starts in that environment? What kind of play is he going to play with? Is he going to play, like you just said, that way he played in OKC when that building is loud, or is he going to fold underneath the pressure of an even louder fan base in New York?
Yeah. Is there any player that you've seen, like, I don't want to do is there any player in NBA history, but just think of every basketball player you've ever watched. Is there any player that you've ever watched play basketball that you feel more confident in, like, being able to take over a series than Victor Wembanyama? And if there are 3 of them, yeah. Who?
Kobe, LeBron, and Jordan. I think with the Warriors, I want to give Steph his flowers, but I think with those Warriors teams, there were so many moments where Clay had his 39-point quarter.
The team took over a series.
The team took over, or you knew that if they were losing in the first half, that Steve Kerr was going to have them.
Quarter was going to be a banger.
Yeah, you knew it was going to happen. Maybe you could argue of if we're just talking individual talent, it's LeBron, it's it's for sure Kobe and Jordan. But I don't even if you go back and look at those Kobe and Shaq teams, it was one or the other, or it was somebody else that was stepping up in a role player game. If it was the old time Spurs, it was Duncan or Robinson, or even Tony Parker Ginobili taking over in certain.
Hey! Do not forget about Big Shot Robert Horry, Big Shot Bob, baby.
Oh, Big Shot Bob, or even the later ones, it was Kawhi and Boris Diaw taking over at points a game.
Boris, yes sir.
Yeah, but even looking at those Celtics teams too, the Celtics teams of when they had KG and Pierce and Allen, it was one of them taking over, but it could have been any. But even what I think is funny, the argument was I always say this when I talk about those Celtics teams. How they played always depended on how Rajon Rondo played. Rajon Rondo,
True.
Rajon Rondo
True.
took when Rajon Rondo took over games and he was getting 15, 15, and 10 or whatever it was, they were a different animal. You could
Yeah.
get 30 from Pierce, but if you're getting 15, 15, and 20 from Rondo,
Yeah.
it was like even the,
Okay.
but maybe the Spurs don't need that from Wemby. I think
Yeah,
they
I
need
think
to
I think
I
they
think
need
they
it.
need I
They
think
need
they
it
need
on the
I think they
defensive end
need
of the floor.
Oh no, I
That's what
agree. I think the
that's
defensive
what
end of
I'm
the floor,
saying.
absolutely. But I think that what the Spurs need is you need a 25-point game from Wemby, sure, but you need a good game from Harper. You need a good game from
Yeah.
Fox. You need like a very similar thing to what you did in Game 1, where
Yeah.
you had the big
Well,
lead and you didn't
and,
fall in a
and,
hole.
and last game, honestly, play like you did last game. But the thing that I think that what I asked you, is there any player in NBA history that you're more like would think of to take over a game? I think for one of the first like truly solo individual talent, and there's been great defenders in this league.
I don't think
Wemby,
you can argue this. Wemby might be the best player of all time defensively that can take over a game just on the
yeah,
defensive side of the floor.
and I think, and if they want to win this series, he needs to do that. Like he
You
needs,
need you
he needs,
needed the and you need I think at least tonight you need what he did in the NBA Cup final. 40 and 20 with a monster game on the defensive side of the ball to win
like
to
like
win
I
tonight.
like he had 4 blocks last game. Like tonight, I want Wimby to have like 7 blocks, 10 plus boards, multiple steals. Like he needs that game, and to genuinely affect any ability to drive the lane. That's like he needs that more than he needs a 40-point game. The Spurs need that more than they need him to be a 40-point scorer.
Oh no,
Because
but I think if the 40 points comes in waves, right? It
yeah,
comes in dominating the offensive glass. That goes with the 20 rebounds. Getting five or six offensive rebounds for putbacks, that's 10, 12 points right there.
mm-hmm.
Changing the game like he's known to do, like he did. Maybe not making Karl-Anthony Towns, like you said, look like Chet,
Yeah,
but you got to limit more of what he can do also. When
and
you're
limit the
getting
rest of the team too. You need to shut down a quarter of the court. A quarter to half of the court needs to, at all moments when you are on the feel inaccessible to their offense.
Yep, and I think that if we're gonna talk what the Knicks needs to do tonight, just play their game. Brunson's gonna get going. Brunson's gonna have
Going. Get your
Brunson's
crowd
not
going.
Brunson's had his two clunker games, if you want to argue it shooting wise, of the series. So he's gonna have one. And is it tonight? Is it game 4? I'm not saying that it's gonna happen. But he's gonna have his normal shooting game. It's a matter of, can everybody else still play at that same level too?
Yeah. I think I think that for the Knicks, yeah, you play your game, you get your crowd involved, you play the way you have this entire series. You pass around the ball, you get everybody involved, you get the shooting going. You keep doing keep going with the offensive efficiency and the way you've been playing your offense all postseason, and you let the crowd hopefully take over this young team on the other side's mind, and yeah, you just play the way you have been. I don't think there's any reason until you lose to really change up too much. Aside from, I mean, their main thing for them has just been Brunson has needed a lot of shots to get his. Outside of that, yeah, and yeah, they're not getting a ton from their bench either. Like Alvarado, McBride haven't been giving a lot. Jordan Clarkson didn't even play last game because it's not went well for him. R.I.P. the Missouri man. True son nonetheless. But aside from Robinson and Shamet, like they haven't really gotten anything for their bench. But
I mean, so just talking bench scoring, it's been game 2 was 27 to 19
mm-hmm.
in the favor of the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
So they're getting enough. At least right now, they're getting
it's
enough.
Mainly for two people.
But it's because the Spurs aren't giving them their bench. Their bench is not giving them anything.
Yeah. Yeah. No, like Keldon Johnson scores his average from this year, which is 13 points.
I mean, if you look at even the scoring breakdown from from game 2, Spurs started strong. They were up by 9 at the end of 1.
Yeah.
The Knicks dominated the second and third quarters, outscoring the Spurs by 18. And
Which is
then
the opposite of game 1, because game 1, the Knicks the Spurs controlled everything from like halfway through the first quarter through the fourth quarter.
Let's look real quick. I'm pretty sure you're right. The Spurs won the first quarter by 8. The Knicks won the second quarter by 1, won the third quarter by 7, and then won the fourth quarter by 10.
Knicks kept the lead the whole time. Yep.
So it's mainly like the Knicks start out. If we're looking at any trend of this series, the Knicks are starting out slow.
Mm-hmm.
But once that second, third quarter, making adjustments, then figuring out the game flow. And once they get the flow of the game, they're just taking control and not letting the Spurs back in it.
Yeah.
So maybe another thing that we should watch for tonight too is what adjustments does Mike Brown make, like he has been, and what adjustments does Mitch Johnson make?
Mm-hmm.
Does he, after watching film of 2 games, make better adjustments throughout the prolong of the whole game, not waiting too early and too late?
Yeah, does their offense start finally getting in rhythm, because they really struggled to find a rhythm and like get into their sets. So like just doing the simple things right for the Spurs and trusting what you've done all season, and instead of changing it up and trying to go 1-on-1, I think is another key part for them.
Do you have any prediction for tonight?
Usually we see in situations like this, desperation. And desperation leads to, but it's so hard to bet against the Knicks going back to Madison Square Garden for the first time in the finals in 40 years. But I'm gonna say the Spurs win, because they need to have it. They have to have it.
I think if we're gonna get a response from the Spurs, it's gonna be tonight.
It has to be.
I don't think they go down 3-0 and win game 4 and try to make something magical. I just don't see it. I think I'm gonna go with you. I think the Spurs answer tonight, and we get a monster game from Victor Wembanyama that changes the narrative of how this series is going, and it's gonna put a lot of pressure on the Knicks for game 4.
Yeah, because they have to win both. Otherwise, it's over, most likely. Otherwise, unless they're the 2016 Cavaliers, it is over. So.
Yeah. So that's all we got for today, unless, Sam, you got something else?
No, I'm good. I'm excited for the game tonight.
This was Hoops After Dark during the daytime. To make sure that we got a preview in for game 3 of the NBA Finals. We'll be back in between game 3 and game 4 with a recap of game 3 and a game 4 preview. Do the Spurs win one? Does Wemby change the narrative? Or are we going to be talking about the Knicks 1 win away from winning the NBA Finals? Make sure you like and subscribe and follow us. Tune in and find out. This has been Hoops After Dark. Without Dre, make sure Dre's on the next one, huh?
Thanks, guys.